I want to talk about marriage. To my legislators in the Minnesota House and Minnesota Senate, all the members of the Minnesota legislature and the governor. I'm also speaking to all the state houses around the nation about what is happening here in Minnesota. We are in the final days, possibly, of real marriage in Minnesota. Associated Press has already announced that the enemies of marriage have won, and that both the Minnesota House and the Senate are definitely going to repeal our marriage law this week. But I want to tell you that Scott Dibble's bill will unleash a whole new industry of persecution in Minnesota. I sat in your meeting rooms and listened to this Minnesota senator from Minneapolis outline how he and the supporters of his bill will unleash a wave of unprecedented litigation based on his new law. These suits will be initiated against private business owners who are helping make marriages happen for men and women of all ages. Minnesotans who want to commit to each other and a family life as we were created by God. Taking that big step because they want to hold their marriage sacred. This is a war on marriage. To create the tools to fight that war, Senator Dibble made clear that his bill will deny what he calls new rights to average Minnesotans. Well-meaning Minnesotans who today have the right to conduct weddings exclusively for men and women who marry. But Dibble said his bill will create new kinds of alleged discrimination. If he finds well-meaning Minnesotans guilty of denying marriage services to people of the same sex and only serve men and women, even if it is for religious beliefs, which many of us have, they will now be judged by the state to be in violation of the new discrimination law and can be sued in court and subject to any kinds of legal penalties the legislature might devise. And churches, he said, must stay in their sanctuaries and not venture into the public square, or they too will be subject to penalties for marriage violations. This is because Dibble and his supporters believe that by defining marriage as we always have, and by defining the homosexual activity we will now label marriage as abnormal and even criminal in the past, we have all been guilty of discrimination, and that the law itself has been unlawful. And he will change that law. And how will his bill and Karen Clark's bill in the House help Minnesota? Dibble's supporters claim that his bill will create $42 million in new business because of all the homosexuals who will marry in Minnesota. He says 20% of the homosexual marriages will end in divorce, but this will feed a growing divorce industry, which will drive legal fees for lawyers as well. But it's not just divorce or weddings purporting to consecrate what many consider sin that will drive legal costs and threaten liberty. It is planned government attacks on average, well-meaning citizens who until now have had this basic religious right to help others pursue the sanctity of marriage and life. Is this Minnesota's future? Are we going to persecute good people of Minnesota if they don't join in this orgy of legal decadence? Are we going to put them out of business because they want to help create the sanctity of life? Where is Dibble's religious liberty in his bill? Dibble's threats are a strong reason to create a second class called civil unions that will not subject well-meaning Minnesotans to destructive lawsuits for alleged discrimination by engaging in the marriage business. Dibble's bill is a costly run on the public treasury intended to create new legal discrimination and to take away legal rights and a precious way of life from those Minnesotans who believe in being part of the way of life God graciously bestowed on us. Please reconsider your vote. Please do not use government power to punish your neighbors because they are just trying to do what they think is right. Don't pass this bill. Vote no on gay marriage.